Mizanskey is a free man. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jillian Ferdig.
And I'm Daniel. When Mizanskey was the only man in Missouri serving life without parole for nonviolent marijuana offenses. ABC 17's Joey Parker has been following the story all year and was inside the prison when Mizanskey was released this morning. And Joey, freeing Mizanskey was no easy task.
It was not. Jeff Mizanskey has become somewhat of a national figure for what most people would call excessive punishment for nonviolent pot crimes. After petitions from nearly 400,000 people and 126 members of the General Assembly, and finally a commutation of the without parole portion of his sentence, his once impossible release from prison happened today. After more than 2 decades in prison, Jeff Mizanskey is very familiar with the Jefferson City Correction Center. But this morning, he took a new route, one that would eventually take him to freedom. With emotional embraces from his sons, first Chris, then Robbie, his brother Mike from Chicago. The welcoming embraces continued for quite some time, ending with a news conference to the more than half-dozen news outlets flanking the former prisoner. Some of Mizanskey's first words were of concern for his former fellow inmates and for changing laws regarding pot.
Get this legalized. Nobody deserves to be in there for marijuana. There's several people in there right now. One of them's in there doing 15 years for having 6 little plants about this big. That's ridiculous. And I'll tell you, if it wasn't for these gentlemen right here, I'd still be in here. If it wasn't for all of you, all the people, the press, you all deserve a big hand too. Because you stayed with the story. You got it out there. People heard.
State Representative Shamed Dogan tried unsuccessfully to pass a bill that would free Mizanskey, but ultimately Governor Nixon commuted the without parole part of his sentence. It didn't free the 62-year-old, but allowed for a parole hearing where Mizanskey was granted parole, for which then inmate Mizanskey was grateful to the governor.
Thank you. I wish you'd done it a little quicker, but I'm sure he had his reasons for waiting.
In addition to catching up with family and friends, he knows he has to get used to a new world, especially the technological changes over the past 22 years.
I've never been on the internet. I've messed around with the computer a little bit in here doing some legal work, so I know a little bit about it, but that's about it. As far as a telephone, or I used to walk into a telephone booth and, you know, drop your dime in there. It's probably not even a dime anymore.
There's no booth anymore.
And Mizanskey's plans for the future? He says he plans on bringing attention to what he calls serious flaws in the justice system and advocating for the legalization of marijuana, something for which Mizanskey's attorney, Dan Vietz, is quite vocal. And Mizanskey's immediate plans? An omelet at a Jefferson City diner, some fishing with his sons, and putting prison life behind him. Jeff Mizanskey will return to Sedalia. We'll be checking in with Mr. Mizanskey to let you know how he adjusts to the so-called outside after so many years in prison.
Thank you, Joey. Jeff Mizanskey's attorney says his release from prison signifies something other than justice for his client.
And as Joey mentioned, Dan Vietz is an outspoken proponent of legalizing marijuana. He regularly speaks out about why he thinks it's important to decriminalize and even legalize pot. He says Mizanskey's case exemplifies how ineffective the war on drugs has been.
No one should go to jail or prison for even 1 day for marijuana offenses. And I'm talking about people who grow marijuana and people who sell marijuana to other adults. That is the position of Show Me Cannabis, of NORML, of the ACLU, and of a majority of the American people. 4 states have embraced that policy. Missouri will follow at some point in the near future.
Vietz says the continued prosecution of minor pot offenses is hurting families and costing taxpayers a significant amount of money.
We're also watching